This is 7 strategies winning players used so they avoid getting crushed at the kitchen.
Ha! I like that.
Today's video is brought to you by Selkirk. Okay, here's number 1, how to stand. Feet wide in a stance. Paddle up in front of you, ready to block, ready to counter, ready to play in an athletic position. Here's the main thing. So many players, when they're at the kitchen line, they're standing tall and their paddle's down. And if you're standing tall and your paddle's down, you're not ready to play. If a ball gets sped up at you, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna be ready. So we wanna be in a stance, feet wide, shoulder width, paddle up, ready to play. That the same thing again?
Cut that one.
So before we talk about any of these other strategies, how you stand matters. Just like John Wooden, the famous basketball coach, used to teach his players how to tie their shoes, I'm teaching you how to stand so everything else I'm about to teach you will work. Here's number 2, dink placement. Where should you hit your dinks, right? If we're in a point, we can go ahead and hit anywhere. If we're dinking, right, ball's moving around, so many players are at the kitchen and my friends are like, Kyle, you told me it's important to get to the kitchen, but now I'm there, I don't know what to do. Well, here's the first strategy. Dink to the player on the left side's backhand. Okay, so I'm here. And why do I want to dink to this guy's backhand? Because when players start playing pickleball, that's one of the things that will happen. We'll keep going. Players typically have worse backhands in dinking, and they don't feel comfortable cross-court dinking with their backhand. Oh, Tyler, you got pretty good.
You're my coach.
I don't feel very comfortable. The more you hit to their backhand, the greater chance they're gonna miss it into the net, they're gonna pop it up, or they're gonna just get uncomfortable and impatient and they're gonna speed up a bad ball. So we'll tie all these together, right? So I talked about dink placement, dink it to his backhand. Well, what you just saw me do is I'm in a stance, tie back to number 1. Feet are wide, paddles up, and I'm leaning in a little bit, able, as you just noticed, to take the ball out of the air, take away time from my opponent, and also put him in an uncomfortable position where he got backed up, and then he ends up hitting into the net or popping it up. Number 3, what do you do when you're being picked on? So right now, clearly I'm picking on Tyler. I mean, look at the guy.
Why wouldn't you? He's the target.
So I'm going at his backhand, and right now, let's just assume that I'm picking on him. Maybe I've just identified that he's the weaker player. Maybe I just know I want to go to his backhand. And so if Tyler wants to get out of this situation, think about it for 3 seconds. What should he do? All right, what do you think you should do?
Switch with my partner.
What? Okay, that's an answer. Just switch sides. Actually, it isn't a bad answer. What else do you think you could do?
I'd probably try to speed something up at the weaker player.
Okay, so to get out of the backhand dink, you would speed something up. What if my dinking is so good that they're really unattackable balls?
Maybe I'd try to pop it up like a lob.
What if it's an unattackable ball where it's like right there, and you really don't want to pop up a ball because it's so close to the net?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm out of answers.
What do you guys think?
I 100% probably go middle right there.
You might go middle. Okay. If he goes middle, so let's do it real quick. Go to the middle real quick, Ty. Right, so I can still put Tyler under pressure. So middle might not be a solution to getting Tyler out of pressure. So the first thing you can do is dink it down the line, because what oftentimes happens if a ball goes down the line is the person will often then take their ball cross court, because most people like dinking cross court the most because you have the most room for error. The net is lowest in the middle, and down the line dinking can be tricky at times, too much, because it's the shortest distance between 2 players. So let's say that you try hitting it down the line, but the person in front of you wants to continue picking on you, so they just dink it back down the line. Then what do you do? Okay, so what you just saw was Johnny just hit it back to Tyler because we're picking on Tyler, obviously. Look at the guy. Zoom in on his face. So there's another way though that Tyler can get out of trouble here and try to get a switch back so his partner gets more involved. Well, Tyler, what do you think it is?
I have no idea.
Just think about it for a second. So you dink it down the line and Johnny's like, nope, we're picking on you. So he goes back down the line and then it happens 3 times or so.
We put middle?
You put it middle? Okay, but I can still come here and I can still go there. You gotta get out of trouble somehow.
I feel like I have no options.
In order for him not to hit you down the line dinks over and over, what do you think you might do? We worked on this video recently.
Speed it up?
Okay, but again, you can't speed it
Erne!
up. Yes.
Erne!
Yes! Okay. Okay, if I dink it till you go down the line, he's not gonna hit you the ball down the line again if you step over an Erne.
Right, he'll have to cross.
He'll have to cross. Okay, here we go. Let's go again.
Yeah, boy.
Right, it's beautiful, right? So you can kind of squeeze the court. Tyler, come over to the Erne position. Okay, Jack, come over here, right? So right now, if I'm Johnny, hold this ball, Johnny. Johnny's probably feeling a little bit of pressure because there's literally 3 people, myself right next to him, the 2 people in front of him, all getting really close. Now, Johnny could hit a cross-court dink, maybe, but that's like a pretty tough dink if he's feeling pressure from an Erne person, right? So even if he does though, now who's involved? Jack.
My partner.
The whole point of what we wanted to do.
That's good, it really shrinks the court.
It really shrinks the court. And it puts a lot of pressure, just like 1, you're probably gonna get Ernie's a couple times. 2, they're probably gonna pop at middle a couple times. Quick interruption, zoom in, a little bit out. I got a video series, a new video series for you. 18 advanced tips to help you move up a level. Go to the description below, click the link, type in your email, and start getting videos immediately. 1 video a day for 18 days. Let's go. Now back to the video. Here's number 4, change the pattern. Oftentimes we get into a cross-court dink with somebody. Now, if I believe I can win this pattern over and over with Tyler, I'm not gonna change the pattern. I'm gonna stay in this pattern if it's working for us. But what happens if we're really even dinkers, or he's actually beating me a lot? Well, I wanna get them moving around, because if I get them moving around at times, I'm gonna get them off balance. In the moment one of them gets off balance, you're usually gonna see an error happen, a pop-up, a ball into the net. So this is the pattern right here. Boom.
Hey.
Good.
Sorry, partner.
So what I did right there, where did you hit that ball from? Forehand or backhand?
Forehand.
Okay, so we hit 2 backhands in a row. That became a pattern right away. And then all of a sudden when I changed from backhand dinks to what I put it to his forehand, which is usually a great spot somewhere in the middle. It can cause confusion. It can cause unbalancedness. And that's what happened with Tyler. He popped it up and I put it away. So when in doubt, if you're getting beat, now again, if you're winning the battle, that pattern, continue with that pattern. It's working. But if it's not, change it up. When in doubt, change it up. Why change it up? Well, 1, a pattern becomes really predictable. And when something is predictable, 1, they can be in position. They're often going to be on balance. They can expect what's coming. And you want to be deceptive at times. You want to give them the unexpected, because the moment they get the unexpected, that's often when the error happens. And that's when you can take advantage of the point. Good. You. Yeah! Number 5, attack dead dinks. Now, what's a dead dink? A dead dink is anything that goes high, that's soft. It gives me some time to decide where I'm gonna place a ball, if I'm gonna speed a ball up. And so the mindset is, if you receive a dead dink and you're on balance, speed it up.
Nice. Nice hands.
Good, beautiful.
Yeah.
And I still liked that I attacked that ball, right? I think it was a good decision to attack. So if you think of the decision independent of the outcome, which I like that ball, the outcome was bad for us, I would still do that again based on the odds. So we talked about what a dead dink is and how you should attack it. Now, let's talk for a moment about the how. How should you attack a dead dink? Here's the 1 tip I'm gonna give you right now. The mistake I see too many players make is they actually take big swings at the kitchen. So they'll be at the kitchen, they'll get a dead dink, and they're gonna take a big swing with their paddle, right? If I'm here, with their paddle moving in this motion right here, right? It's like a sideways tennis swing almost. This is where tennis players have a lot of trouble. So they're here, big swing, which leads to the ball going into the net because it's harder to lift the ball. I have a pickleball paddle, not a tennis racket, so I can't generate as much whip, and the court is smaller, so it's harder to get a ball from here to dip into the court, right? They might hit it too high. Jack, you gotta catch that one. Okay. So what's the tip? The tip is paddle tip down. So when I get if you watch a lot of pros play, they're gonna speed up. Shoot, they're gonna hit a lot of thirds like this too, but they play from this position a lot. They're not here as much, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually do like a whipping motion, almost like you almost took a windshield wiper. It's not gonna be totally like top spin. It's probably gonna be more like a diagonal spin. So let me hit with you for a second, Jack. All right, so I'm here, and you'll see that I get my paddle down here a lot, because I want it to look the same as my speed up, but I also want to be able to generate some top spin or some diagonal spin and lift the ball over the net. Here we go. So here. Okay, go again. Tyler, go ahead and do it when you get to. Good. Nice, good. Good, go ahead, hit a dead dink.
He said go ahead and do it, so I did.
Hit a dead dink to Johnny, and now Johnny, I want you to do it.
Whoa!
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so what's gonna happen a lot is, 1, you're gonna hit balls lower towards the net. So you're actually gonna see a ton more net courts. You're gonna miss less balls out, and that's how you attack a dead dink. Here's number 6, where to attack when you are speeding up a dead dink, okay? So you have options now. So the first thing is you wanna be able to read the ball and know it's a disciplined shot here. It's a smart shot. I should speed this up because they gave me something that bounced a little bit. It's probably around net height or a little bit higher, and I should try to attack because I might not get an option later, so let me attack now. Here's the second thing, where should you attack? Right hips and right shoulders, assuming righties. Now you play lefties, it's gonna be the exact opposite. Because the thing with pickleball is so many players actually counter backhand. And part of the reason is you actually have a lot of reach here, and I can still make contact with the ball, even all the way out here, and it doesn't really mess with my elbow, it doesn't mess with my wrist too much. When you have a forehand, right, part of the reason we don't sit forehand is because I do have long reach here, but the moment I start getting closer to my body, all of a sudden my elbow gets tucked, my wrist gets kind of pinched, and it's harder to do anything with this ball, right? So I can still do something with the ball all the way to about this position. So that's part of the reason that people sit backhand when they're at the kitchen line. So because if we know that we all sit backhand, I want to put these players in a position, your opponent's in a position to do what's called a chicken wing. I want to get them doing this because they're not going to be very aggressive with a ball like this, right? Nice. If he puts that up, I'm gonna crush that thing, and that's the goal. You either wanna win outright, or you wanna get a pop-up so you get the advantage. So you wanna attack hips and shoulders, specifically right hips on righties and right shoulders on righties. And that applies on both sides, right? So let's go here, you're gonna go to Johnny.
Johnny?
And then Johnny's gonna speed up to your right hip.
Okay. Whoa.
Nice. That's a good example though, that when you're speeding up, the most important thing actually isn't hitting it hard.
Yeah.
The most important thing is actually hitting a good spot.
Yeah.
If you hit a good spot, then you're gonna either create a pop-up or you're gonna create a soft counter, because hitting it hard is almost just going out. Now people are still gonna hit out balls. I mean, I never have, but most people will, right? So I'm gonna give you one more tip. I'm actually just gonna get right here and I'm gonna flick here versus taking this big swing. So I'm here, flick, right? So I'm creating that spin. Nice. Okay, good. Let's go again. That was the right technique. Now let's get to the right spot. So when I'm thinking like, which spot should I go to? Should you always go to that spot? No, you shouldn't always go to that spot. But I am typically going to default to that spot to start, and I'm going to see how they handle it. Like Tyler, if you're moved all the way over, I'm probably going line. I'm probably not going right hip, right? But if he's standing right in front of you, right hip, right shoulder is a pretty good starting option, and then you evaluate after that. Number 7, counterattacking. What happens when you're the person that hits a dead dink? Right? And you recognize, oh gosh, I just hit a dead dink. That might not be good for us, right? I'm assuming that if I hit a dead dink, they also are recognizing that's dead. They might get aggressive. Now, if I recognize that, the mindset I want to have is prepare for counter, recover to dink, right? So here's what I mean by that. If I hit a dead dink and I'm preparing for a dink, and you speed it up at me, well, all of a sudden, my mindset was you were dinking it and I have to recover to hitting a counter. So what I wanna do is prepare for a counter, right? I wanna be in a position, right? I'm down in the stance. And if you happen to hit a dink, it's much easier to then go recover to a dink. Just go into a position. This is part of the reason number 1 is so important. Like the moment I hit a dead dink in a match, like a pro match, and somebody I know is about to come at me, my brain is activated. Like I'm triggered, right? To like, I'm ready. And I even sometimes will give a little split step just to get my legs moving. So right now, as you're watching the video, I'm gonna hit a dead dink, but I want you just to focus on my body position. Body bag!
Body bag!
Body bag, perfect. Prepare for the counter, recover to dink. I'm gonna hit a dead dink, I'm gonna prepare for counter, but then I want you to just dink it middle, okay? Here we go. So I'm here. I'm activated. Yeah, I can recover to that easily. The bonus is, what do you do when you're at the kitchen line and you get caught off balance? Because the reality is, when you're dinking, you're gonna get off balance at times because you're trying to be aggressive, you're moving, they might just hit a good shot. Tyler, what do you think? When you're off balance.
I'm sorry, I tuned out and wasn't listening to anything.
What do you do? All right, so I hit a dink that gets Tyler off balance. That's often what will happen, just a big pop-up, right? The biggest mistake I see is when somebody gets off balance, they immediately panic. And when they panic, they kind of go for the all or nothing shot, right? Just like, I'm just gonna speed this thing up as hard as I can, which often it's going way out, it's going into the net. I mean, literally, I'm not even exaggerating, right?
Yeah.
They're off balance, they just go for it.
Yeah.
Versus saying, they've hit a good shot, I just need to survive. That's the word I like to use, is survive this ball. And how do I survive it? I try to get as on balance as I can, and I try to put the ball back into the middle. Because if I put the ball down the line, so if I hit this ball here, and yeah, exactly. I go down the line. This player, if he's any good, is gonna read that ball and he's gonna come put pressure on me. So knowing that, like, cause you can go there occasionally. It's gonna work against people who don't Erne, but knowing that, I don't wanna go down the line. I don't necessarily wanna go cross court. It gets me off balance, okay? For that very reason, right? If I go cross court, that's a very long, difficult dink. So much margin for error. He could lean in and punch. So what I'm gonna do is get off balance, survive, and I'm back in the point. Okay, it's a quick out, okay? And I want you to really calm your mind, get soft with your hands, and just deliver a ball back to the center of the court. Good. Nice.
That was way better.
So good. So how do you work on those 8 things? If 7 and a bonus is you get with a group of players like this, and even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, play some 4-person at the kitchen line dinking games where you could work on 1 or 2 of these things so you can accelerate your improvement. If you like this video and you want to go deeper on the Erne or the backhand dink, we're going to have links to those videos below. I'm also going to put how to have a better backhand dink video right here somewhere. You can click on this video. In closing, those are the strategies winning players are using so they don't get crushed at the kitchen. Ah! I really hope the audio recorded.